Welcome back to Old Mate Yarns, episode 7. 7 already. You should know Dean and John by now, actors, absolute gods in human form. And tonight we have Ben Ling.
Jeez.
Hello.
Camera assist, camera extraordinaire, first AC, assistant director. What else? Editor. What else is on the list?
Yeah, a bit of everything, I guess.
The coolest
Filmmaker, almost, hey, you know? Bit of an everyman kind of thing. But, no,
Plain,
thanks for having
simple.
me. It was good.
title,
Filmmaker.
the coolest hair on the podcast.
Coolest hair involved in the film, for sure.
Fantastic, man. Mate, you make me miss my long hair real bad.
Yeah, I've got a bit of balding on my dad's side, so I'm worried that this is going to go in a decade or two.
So I hear. It's the
Yes,
maternal side, so it should be like your grandfather on your mum's side. How's his hair doing?
I think he's good.
That being said,
It's all right.
I watched another podcast where they said it's a bit of a fallacy. It's a
Oh,
combination.
there you go. That would make sense. Just genetics. Well,
You're right, man. Like, look at that hair.
yeah,
You look like a
he'll
rock
find
star.
it.
I've got time.
My dad has a great head of hair, and my mum's father went bald at 25. So I'm looking more like the maternal side at the moment, but we're holding out.
You guys know the band Dragon Force?
Yeah,
Dragon Force, yeah.
Yeah, like one of the guitarists, Herman Lee, he's just got like that strong, just straight. It's exactly like yours, Ben, but
Yeah.
big.
Yeah, he's a beast, that guy. Yeah, he does like
Very good.
all these like really great TikTok videos, like reaction videos, like other like insane like YouTube guitarists doing crazy shreds and stuff.
He got. I was watching an interview with him. He got fired from like 5 bands because he was just trying to play too fast all the time. And then he found Dragon Force, and they were like, "Yes, you."
You're not fast
that's
enough.
So dope. That's so dope. Yeah, you know, I get the Steve Aoki thing a lot when I go out. Like, you'll get a couple of drunk guys just like, "Oi, Steve Aoki!"
That's what, you got to take a cake with you and just fucking plaster him in the face with it.
Oh god, yeah. Just keep a couple of those on the arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a 4-year-old that's a better guitarist than me
Oh,
yesterday.
no.
Oh god. Yeah.
That must feel good to the ego.
Very
Yeah.
humbling.
He's talent.
The little finger's just shredding on a full-size guitar.
Oh, full-size
Can you
guitar.
not?
Running up and down it. Have you answered it? Who are we talking to?
That's a cut.
No, it's the agent. Should I give him a call back or should I fucking?
Oh, shit.
If it's your agent,
yeah.
probably not.
Do it.
It's anyone else. Fuck you.
I'll give him a quick call and we'll just cut this little bit out.
All right, no worries.
Sorry.
I say keep it in. Everybody.
Hey mate, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. I just was checking to make sure you had no dietary requirements, but I just sent back saying that you don't. So I
No.
hope that's the case.
I don't have any dietary requirements. Just yeah, all good.
Just a good steak, some lobster, medium well.
I'm more of a medium kind of guy, so you should be sweet.
Like it bleeding a little bit.
I do. Just I'm just shooting this little not a podcast with the old mate boys. So you're currently being recorded.
Oh, very good. Okay, well that's always nice to have your agent calling about your next gig, isn't it?
Oh, it isn't just perfect timing.
Being flown to Queensland like a rock star.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Love it. Well, I'm very expensive, so if I say any edit, I'll send through my deal memo details, shall I?
Oh, please do.
That's good. All right, mate, I'll leave you to it.
Mate.
Give me a buzz tomorrow.
Awesome, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, buddy. Bye for
See you,
now.
Kitty.
Yeah.
What an agent.
Just my agent. Just give us a call about work that's coming up.
Lobsters.
Did you organise that before?
No, not a
Yeah, it's
chance.
convenient timing. So
No, that's-
lobster lunches. I don't know if I'm going to be able to compete with that on the old mate shoot. Fuck.
Oh, mate, the
damn.
the takeaway Tyler we had was sensational.
How good was that?
It was
I was a
good.
big fan of that.
That was real nice.
Plenty more where that came
We're
from.
on lock all day every day, Mitch.
Yeah, I mean, we'd probably all... So I was doing this kids' TV series. It's like science-based series. And we had Thai for lunch sometimes. And it's just so packed with sugar. And the kids, man, fucking after lunch, just like 2 p.m., 2:30, they just all crash. And then you're like, oh, fuck. And they, like, we had to be, like, really high energy. And then I had to bring a high energy. And I'm fucking tired. All this, tiger and curry in my belly. And I was like, come on, kids, fucking come on. The camera ops are just fucking vaguing out. And these kids were, oh, man. There was this one experiment where they were trying to do, like, light convection and convergence with, like, curved refractive things. And so, the whole kind of ethos of the thing was, like, science experiments that kids can do at home. And so they used jelly and cut circles out of jelly and, crescent shapes, and then shone a torch through it with a little, slit, and you could see the light bending and, whatever. But in the story, they ate the jelly. And so you have the wide shot, cool, haha, and then the light, and then at the end, he eats the jelly, and then the other kid's like, I want some jelly, so I'm like, fucking have some jelly. And then you have the mid shots, and they do it again, and again, and get the take right. And then you do the close-ups, and so by this point, they're just eating this jelly. They did some of the takes deliberately wrong, so they get to do another one and eat more. Oh. And then they have this massive sugar high, and the stuff we got was like magic. The content we got of these kids just like bursting with energy. And then second half of the day was terrible. It was the worst. We had to redo it all because they were just like, the sugar crash was immense. So if I can find some like low sugar Thai food for old mate, if it could keep us going, absolutely, I'll do it every day of the week.
I feel like we had Thai on the 10-minute.
We did.
Shoot.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I certainly felt it when it was approaching midnight.
I thought it was at the end of the night when we were finished.
No, it's halfway through, and then we did all the action stuff immediately after.
We had heaps of leftovers, which we all took home. That's what was going on at the end.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's good stuff. Man, I feel like
shit.
Oh, sorry.
The rest of the night?
Huh?
You remember what happened to me, right, Mitch?
Oh, after the shoot.
After we'd all left,
my God.
Like, what was it?
Brutal. Tell the other guys.
I'm driving about like maybe 200 meters up the road, and my car starts going. One of my wheels is fucked. There's like a servo. I just go like near a servo on my GPS, and it's like about a K away. So I like clunk all the way there, and this fucked tire with no spare.
Oh no!
I sat in this freezing service station till 3 a.m. for a tow truck to come up because they were busy or something. And I got towed to it was going to cost me, I think, $500 to get my car towed to Newcastle. And I just went, nah. So I went to my daughter's mum's place in eastern suburbs and slept in the car.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my God.
So I didn't want to go in and wake him up. I'm like, that was the rest of my night after the shoot.
Oh, Christ.
Decent.
Yeah, it's fucked. I said it then, and I'm saying it now. You should have let me know.
I should have also had a spare in the boot.
I mean, that would that would also help.
Schoolboy error.
Damn.
Yeah, you could have. You could have slept on the couch. Bit more
cheers,
yeah, next time you fuck your car, just come and sleep on the couch. Much better than sleeping in the car.
Like literally every crew member would have been there.
Yeah, 100%. I only live like 10 minutes away from that spot as well. I would have.
Nice. Thanks, boys.
No, of course. That's a shit way to wrap a shoot.
First one.
That's memorable.
Yeah.
Sure is.
Yeah.
Going from great heights to like life going,
Yeah,
have this.
I do kind of feel that. Yeah, I mean, like the universal balance of everything. Like something has to give at some point. If you have that much, because there was so much magic about that shoot. Like there was so much serendipity, and so I had the like deathly flu while I was shooting it. First shoot for my feature film.
Oh, God.
Feeling like absolute arse. You had that. So, yeah, I mean, something had to give. So, yeah, little sacrifices.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'd probably take the flu over my car fucking out any day.
I don't know.
Throw the car for you on screen. I don't want you there fucking sniffling.
How many days until we see it? It's
1 week.
What?
19.
Today. Yeah, next Wednesday.
Sick.
At around 8 p.m. So 10 minutes from now, exactly 1 week.
Yeah.
I'm nervous and excited.
What's the setup for it?
So the front of the rocks with all the windows and see the tanks behind them.
Yeah.
Down that down the end of that,
Yeah, down the far end.
into the corner with the like picket fence.
So are you guys bringing in a scrim and a projector, or how's
Yeah,
how's
so so Jordan's bringing the fuzz in true Jordan fashion.
Yeah.
And so we're getting probably an 8x8.
You're
fuck
actually
off
going
big.
to use an ultra bounce scrim or something.
Yes, we are. An ultra bounce it will, and then a fuck off projector, whatever Jordan has access to. And then he's bringing his sweet speakers from home. And then we're going to set up the tables along and have the screen against the picket fence and just blast the projector onto it. And then we're pretty keen to, sort of just have the screen sort of facing out so people sitting at other tables, if they're curious, can sort of just...
Oh, yeah, there's
Pop
going to
over.
be people there just having a beer after work, just kind of like,
Yeah.
what the fuck
fuck
is
is
going on here?
Yeah.
Fuck this, fuck that.
What is that guy up there? And also...
His army knife in the head.
huh?
His army knife in the head, swearing.
Yeah. Well, I asked about that, and Trish was just like, shit on TV these days. They have the TVs
He's
playing.
like, fuck it.
Like, 8 p.m.
Right?
Fuck 'em.
Oh, Trish wouldn't give a shit. She's great.
It's awesome.
Mm.
And
This is the venue where you worked on, right?
Yeah.
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 No, it's a great spot. And obviously,
Fantastic.
supporting of people's artistic endeavours.
yeah, it's awesome. And I didn't even ask. Trish offered. They're gonna swap out one of the taps to have Old Mate on tap all night.
God.
Bullshit.
We're gonna put up some posters around.
Oh, that's sick. That's sick. Yeah.
Does this mean our faces are going to be on a beer tap on the night?
I don't know about actually on the tap, but there'll be posters up and shit.
It's just done. So we'll have posters up, and they've just got handwritten chalkboards.
Yeah.
And so they'll just scribble out APA and just put Old Mate Pale Ale. And people
All
are
right.
like, what's your Old Mate Pale Ale? And be like, it's the fucking those two idiots up there. They both
Blokes on the
pissed in
can.
a jar, and we mixed it together, put a bit of yeast in there, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, baby. Just like us.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just like the film.
Oh,
So that's a week from today.
yeah,
Awesome.
fantastic.
Awesome.
Forward to seeing you guys there,
Yeah, for sure. Sure.
and you guys there.
When this screens, it'll actually be right this second on YouTube, right?
Yeah, this will come out. I think the last one will come out. So this is actually going to come out the week after. But luckily we pitched it on the previous one. But yeah, I suppose a week out now is probably the time to maybe start mentioning it, posting it. It is just the cast and crew screening. That was a good question, John. Sorry, I misread that on Insta. But I think it is just the cast and crew screening. But like if people in the industry, mates, plus ones, all that kind of thing. Feel free to hit up more people, post about it, and
I'll bring a couple people.
yeah, nice. Yeah, that'd be awesome. We got a booking for 15. I think I can push it maybe to about 20. But if other people just sort of rock up as they're just having a beer or book another table or something like that, you're going to be able to see it from everywhere. So
Yeah.
You kind of just hear like loud white noise.
oh yeah, I can hear that as well actually.
I'm getting that. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, hang on. Is that me?
Is that me?
You guys all have. Hang on. No, I can't be.
Should I try and
recording
just
others.
mute me for a second, just to see if that's me?
Yeah, let's see who it is.
Let me just mute myself.
Oh, it's gone.
There it
Ben.
is. Damn it, Ben. That's right.
That,
Okay.
that is me then, damn it.
That's right.
Hold on.
Like an aircon or something.
I think it's the fans on my laptop's just getting a little bit active here. I'm just gonna raise it.
Not as bad now.
Yeah, it's just I think the fan's echoing underneath my laptop, so I'm just raising it up.
That's
Yeah,
right. I can
it's
do a little bit of a.
Yeah, it's heaps better.
Yeah, nice. I can just clip the highs in the recording, so
Soz.
be a non-issue. No, it's okay. We're only up to episode 7. Usually podcasts are like fucking episode 300 and whatever that people are watching. So we're still working out our setups. Jordan's setup was fucking immaculate, but it was so good that it fucked out, and then we had
really?
issues towards the end. Yeah.
Everyone started eating shit because Geordie's just pulling the bandwidth.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry, Jordan, but we can't all just have like a 4K fucking...
My God.
Looked like 8K.
It looks so good though. It looks so good.
And then
Yeah.
John
it looked
didn't.
like a documentary.
It was fucking awesome. And then John
Was
didn't
someone
have
being
his
interviewed?
didn't have Jordan's feed for ages and thought we were just
Oh god.
fucking around with him.
Oh,
And then
really?
yeah, we're talking about so Ben, we do old mates of the week, which is just one person that you met. He's just a total old mate. We'll talk more about that in a sec. But yeah, we just started like the old mates of the week, and Jordan started telling the story, and then obviously John didn't have his feed, so he just runs straight over him.
Oh, man.
Just start
Goes
talking
to town.
about-
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So Ben,
Yeah.
we have some questions because the people watching haven't met you yet. They know
Sure.
Dean and John pretty well by now.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
know my ugly mug. They know Mason. But yeah, so on Old Mate, you are our first AC, pulling a bunch of different roles. I don't even know where you'll end up. You'll just be fucking here, there, and everywhere, mainly with Jordan.
Yeah.
But I'd love to, yeah, sort of share with people in your words. I mean, how did you get involved in Old Mate? How did you end up here? And why are you involved? Why do you want to be here?
Yeah,
How does that
yeah,
go?
sure. So, how did I get involved? I guess if you really want to rewind back to the beginning, the way I met you, Mitch, was through working on a short film directed by Alex Proyas. I was just doing some second AC work on that. And yeah, really enjoyed, everyone's energy. The crew was really lovely. A little bit of,
It was a good crew.
it was a great crew, yeah.
Good people.
Good people. A little bit of a lot of troubleshooting through that gig, but it always is with kind of narrative work. I get it, but
There's a lot of
Yeah.
virtual production stuff that hadn't really been done before, using the vanishing point camera tracking, like live camera tracking
yeah,
data, and having the QR codes instead of tracking markers everywhere. That was a
that was
learning curve.
Yeah, fair enough. It was all pretty just new tech, hey, that you guys were just sort of using that film as sort of like a starting point to figure it all out from, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, so I guess, yeah, I met you on that, and I don't know, if you fast forward like 6 months later, I just get like a phone call from you out of the blue, and I was like, oh my god, this dude from that short film, like, so great to hear from you, and you kind of came to me with this script, and we grabbed a beer and kind of just had a chat about your film, and
at the Rocks.
at the rocks. And I mean, for me, passion-wise, like my love with filmmaking has always been on the narrative side of stuff. I really, enjoy doing like more commercial things, music videos and stuff like that. But as the reason why I got into doing this stuff was, to be able to work on these passion projects and I guess narrative features and things like that. That's where I really want to be. So having this opportunity with you, and that just popped up, I immediately wanted to jump at it, just out of the pure love of wanting to do something like that. And I guess during that period I was having a little bit of a creative lull. I kind of just felt like I was just grinding out kind of very corporate-y kind of stuff. So I really wanted to change of pace. And the script that you presented was so fun and unique. And I think for Australian cinema, it's, I think, a great alternative kind of branch that I think that more people in Australia need to go down towards. We do a lot of good films, but I think we need to broaden our horizons a little bit more and do some more, kind of genre of films. Even though, it can be it sounds a little lackluster, I think it's always got a really special and archetypal kind of element to those films. And Australian films are great, but we do a lot of these character dramas, or like
heavy dramas, right?
Yeah, and like or they're just like neo-noir crimes in the city or out in the outback.
Yeah.
It's always one of those.
Mm.
And to see something that I hope it's not offensive to say, but it kind of feels quite Hollywoodized, and that was so refreshing to me. And I feel like that's something that Australian cinema needs a little bit more of. A little bit. There's nothing wrong to have a little bit more of that commercial Hollywoodized kind of aspect to it. I think it's a great way to keep a film entertaining and broad and give it like that international audience that I think more Australian films deserve. So I guess
Totally.
that's,
I like
that's
that.
really, you know, yeah, that's why I was so attracted to your project was for that basis, and just sort of, you know, having that passion and you know, having, yeah, just that opportunity to jump on board. I was never going to say no, I guess. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Because, I mean, this is stroking the ego, and great to hear. And that especially, it means a lot, too, coming from, you know, and you worked on some absolute mega productions recently. I mean, are you allowed to talk about much involved with them?
I can talk about it. I'm not gonna. I can't talk too much about the specifics, but I guess. Yeah. Well, recently I was on the new Planet of the Apes film that was being shot here in Sydney. Yeah, just rigging electrics. So I guess it's like a weird marriage between the lighting, electrical department, and bit of grip rigging work. So it's a little bit of everything. But yeah, I was on that for 3 or 4 months, and prior to that, I was just on the later half of the Furiosa shoot that was happening as well.
You Mad Max. Oh, good.
Yeah, same role though, lighting, rigging electrics. So yeah, it's something that I'm not going to take for granted having those opportunities, but it's definitely given me a bit of a reality check. I've had like a weird problem where I think I've romanticized filmmaking a little bit too much. Like I've kept it all up in my head, like it's this really creative and beautiful endeavor. But it's like, man, you're out in the mud. You're out in the fucking mud doing these things, and you're just carrying heavy gear or driving machines, and it's more tradie work than anything else.
Yeah. Like halfway between being a tradie and being in the army.
Yeah, and it's not like you even get a creative say in any way unless you're like some kind of department head. It's another cog in the machine by that.
So how big were your teams? Like
So
how many people were involved in your?
Yeah, the
department?
Furiosa team was really small actually.
Oh, that's cool.
The rigging Alex department was only 4 people.
Yeah, wow.
So really small, but I think that's great because when you don't have enough crew, you're forced to just go out of your comfort zone and do a lot more. And I really think Furiosa gave me that opportunity.
Wow.
I really felt like I learned the most on that gig out of any other gig that I've done. Well, it was the second gig that I've done. The only one I did before that was Thor, Love and Thunder, and that crew was like 15 people, which was, I think, just a little over bloated because then you get a call over the radio and someone's like, can someone go rig up a light and plug it in over here, and then suddenly like 7 other people show up. We're all trying to like fast walk over there, and it's like whoever's got the longest legs is going to get the gig first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was this one tall guy, and he would just like, and he's already there. I'm like, man, now I feel like an idiot. I'm standing around. There's like 4 other people standing around. We're watching like 2 guys do a job that could be done with 1 person. So it felt like a bit more of a struggle for me to kind of find moments and opportunities to actually get my hands on stuff.
Totally.
Just because there was just plenty of people to go do that, but not so much on Furiosa. We were out in the mud just doing everything, moving all the stuff with the main unit lighting guys. So we were really stuck in it on that one, which was a great change of pace. But then going back over to Apes, the crew was a bit bigger again. It was about like 10, 15, but there was a lot going on that one, and it was a pretty quick turnaround in comparison. Like, I think Thor and Furiosa was like 6 to 9 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was a serious stint. But I think Apes was like 4 to 5. I think maybe 6 max. The way they just kept rolling the work, it was always constant, and there was always stuff to do. And we kind of got split up into multiple sections. Like, we had the offset team that would come in, rig all the big lights, like the soft boxes that get hung up in the ceiling. That was sort of the team that I was on. And then we sort of have another group that would stay on set. So on the actual shooting days, we'd have like another group of guys out there just being support with the main lighting guys and doing any kind of rigging work that might be needed on those on-set days. But it's...
So a lot of it was on location stuff. It wasn't shot green screen.
On Apes,
Oh, either one.
Furiosa was pretty practical. We were outside on location almost every day. Yeah, it was basically all on location. If we did any green screening, they just busted out like right there on site.
Yeah,
you know? I guess it's much better. You get the actual like accurate lighting. You're not trying to replicate it.
Integrated with the reality of what's going on.
Totally.
It's always better if you can do it, right?
Sorry?
It's always better if you can do it, isn't it? To have the real location.
Yeah.
Is lighting where you see yourself in the industry? Like, do you want to be sort of like a head technician, like head gaffer, or is there somewhere else in the industry that you'd like to see yourself sort of carve a path towards?
That's a really great question. I have been toiling with that, like, mentally for like the last few months. I've had like this weird existential crisis. It's just like, man, filmmaking isn't what it's, chalked up to what I've imagined now. Like, faced with that reality, what do I do with myself? Like, I guess originally I always saw myself as like a cinematographer. I always loved, doing camera-y kind of stuff, which I still, really enjoy. But, as a lot of people will tell you, like half of that cinematography work, comes out of the lighting side of things too. So it's really important to kind of also be quite engaged on that side. And so I do, from that aspect, really enjoy working on especially these larger films where you get to see how, people light massive gigs and big surface areas and, when you have that amount of money and you're just seeing, what the differences are. Funnily enough, it's all the same shit. Like, it's the same problems, but they're just bigger.
Bigger problems, yeah.
It's
more money, more problems.
Stuff. Like, you get there on location, it's not what you imagine, the lighting is slightly different. Now we've got to change this thing over here. Now this light, isn't working, so that's got to go. Or suddenly it's not as bright as they thought, so we've got to double the amount of softboxes in the ceiling in 2 days. So it's always like a lot of that like troubleshooting as well, as you go along. Like, for some reason I thought when you've got that budget you can just wash away your problems with the money hose, but that's not the case, which I thought was fascinating. But I guess to answer your question, where do I want to go? I think having a big think recently, I think I've concluded, like my main passion really comes out of like watching and loving films, and I think it's mostly that storytelling element. So I'm thinking maybe it's more of the writing and directorial side that might keep me a little bit more interested and maybe just happier.
Totally.
So yeah, I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna have to try and think about it and maybe just steer away a little bit from the technical side of things and maybe go a little bit more creative here. I haven't exercised that side of my brain for a long time, so I feel like I just need to find something to get the ball rolling on that and see whether that leads me towards a happier path, I guess.
I mean, you kind of say you haven't exercised that muscle as much, maybe not professionally, but I mean, every conversation we've had, you always approach things from like story first, character first. Like you're seeing the end film and working backwards as opposed to approaching it technically. The posters on your walls of the movies. What is it, like Drive, Fight Club, bloody
Clockwork Orange.
Clockwork Orange, yeah.
Yeah.
Like your taste in films is like it's the kind of ones that you're really thinking cerebrally about storytelling, and also the books that you're kind of you're into as well, kind of more philosophical kind of stuff.
Yes.
Like I've always seen you as a I guess I introduced you based on kind of the roles that you've been taking, but I've always kind of seen you as a filmmaker, I've always kind of seen directing being definitely probably in the near future somewhere.
Thank you. I really appreciate that coming from you. Thank you. Look, I mean, even when I like produce at work or AD and stuff, I always think it's important, to come from story first. Even when you're like reading a script, it's hard as a cinematographer to not try and visualize it as you read it and work out the shots as you're reading it. But like, I always try and push that out of my mind and, just try and read it from like even a story point of view and just see how that flows. So I always think if you have like, it's like, I think something that Spielberg even said, when you got like a good script and good bones, it's much easier to jump off that as as somewhere to go than from like
yeah, absolutely.
Or was it like it was Bryan Cranston. He said, if you've got like a B+ script, you can push it a bit and get it to an A, but if you've got like a D grade or a C grade script, you can only push it to like a B or a B+,
Yeah.
So it's a bit like that, I guess.
I'm really actually interested on those bigger sets in terms of lighting. I know like creativity on smaller sets it seems to be a bit more sort of there's a lot more play in terms of how they light these big films. How much of it is a discussion of like what the lighting does in terms of service of the story versus like how can we light this just to fucking be able to see everything and look sick?
Totally. I guess in relation to where I fit into all that, it's unfortunately completely non-existent. By the time I get involved, the decision's already made, and they've drafted a blueprint, with all the scaffolding and exactly what light goes in exactly which section of the truss up in the ceiling and stuff like that. But
did you get sort of good ideas from what the shit they were doing and go, fuck yeah, I would keep that, write a note on that and say like that's a really interesting way of doing things and all that kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I've been talking to some other like lighting guys who've sort of been around the game, and it's fascinating to hear from them. Like one question I asked is this German guy that shoots a lot of car commercials in Berlin said that he always finds the cinematic quality of lighting for some reason to be quite a top-down, soft kind of source. So, you have a lot of large soft boxes and broad surface area lighting coming from the top, and you kind of mix it in with negging or taking away light with black fabric from the camera side that you're shooting from. And for some reason that seems to evoke quite a cinematic quality with the lighting, which I thought was a fascinating thought, and I really want to employ that where I can more. It's not exactly the cheapest way to light, because when you're going top down, it requires a little bit more logistics. So it makes it a bit more complicated, but it's even interesting. Like like every time when the best boy or the gaffer comes around and they're doing like a little inspection of the scene, like we just put all the lights in. We're turning all the bulbs on so they can get like a rough pre-light idea of what it's going to look like, and just trying to get a gauge from them, what they're trying to do with this thing and what they're trying to do with that thing. It's interesting. It's like we're putting a 20K outside of this window to punch like a really shafty kind of look. So when you've got the haze and you've got like that nice kind of sun rays coming through the window.
God rays.
We're putting in vortex panels instead of sky panels over the stairwell, just because there's in the actual scene there's like a hole cut out in the ceiling because it's like a rusted hull of a ship. And so there's just natural light passing through that one section of the stairwell, so we just got to put in some brighter lights to kind of mimic that. So I guess it's interesting. It always kind of comes from a motivated angle. It's not necessarily always about what's the most beautiful or cinematic way we can go about this, but it's sort of like what's naturalistic to that scene. In a way that we can still shape it and make it look clean, but I guess just coming from something that's motivated, like, oh, there's moonlight, so we're going to have like a little bit of a cooler, softer light coming in, or now it's like sunset, so we want like a whole bunch of 20Ks that are a lot warmer and orangey. So yeah, it's interesting to see how you get from the story to implementing those lights in order to tell the story of that scene. Yeah.
Do they do a lot of the smoke machine Atmos stuff?
Yeah.
Takes? I find that a lot of high-end productions, right?
Yeah. They don't do it all the time. There was a few moments, definitely. They were, oh my god, it's crazy. The haze machine, it's like, it comes up to my chest height. It comes out of this giant-ass road case.
Yeah.
And those like special effects fans, like the big ones with the petrol engine, they just turn it on, chuck it in front of that, and in like 5 minutes, like the entire studio, and it's got like a 25-meter high ceiling. Like the whole thing's just hazed out in like 5-10 minutes. It's massive.
If you don't have one of those particular machines, it just disperses too quickly, and it's a bitch to match continuity.
Yeah, like you could do it with a smoke machine, but you got to make sure you're flapping that shit in a consistent way. When you got a haze,
Professional flapper.
You're the flapper, yeah. When you got a hazer, man, that thing stays on the whole time and maintains the volume of haze that once written changes.
Have you got that in your CV? I'm a very consistent flapper.
Oh man, that'll be a good one to put down. Actually,
flap with the best.
You make it a good.
With a vape.
Yeah, with your vape. I mean, that's a great time. You've got an industrial vape thing with the fucking
I
vent
just
thing
did
in
a
it.
music video like a month ago
Yeah.
where they wanted some haze, and I was like, oh, I can just. It worked.
Yeah. Jordan has some great photos from the from the set.
I don't recall if we did haze or not. We did we?
No, I don't think we did. It was a conversation we had because I love the look of it. We possibly actually had a haze machine there, or a smoke machine there, smaller one. Yeah. But when it comes to faster turnarounds like we had, I do want to employ it.
It depends on the scene, obviously, as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I was liking like the wide shot as you're getting dragged in front of the wall. I always kind of wanted a bit more depth there. So haze would have been great, just to kind of set the volume in the, like when you're seeing the wide shot in the whole space, having that and having some light passing through it, you just get much more of a sense of depth. And
I enjoyed. Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
No. That's it. What were you gonna say?
I was just going to say I enjoyed the lighting setup that we had, and this is part of what lighting does for actors in setting a scene. It's just we had some everything was so sharp, and very crisp shadows on the wall, and there's this scene with when Dino's on top of me and I can only see half of his face, like the creases and whatnot, and it adds to the whole sort of feeling of the scene. And of course, like, we all know the difference between when you're doing a fucking audition and they're actually being on set, when they've got this whole lighting setup and you're in it, and that a good lighting setup, even though we can't see what's going on the monitors, like it helps us in the scene of just like, you the fucking scary dude on top of you, just with half a face lit, and you're just going, fuck, that looks great. I just think,
great.
Yeah.
It adds to it.
Atmosphere. I think that's one of the downfalls of doing virtual production, which, I mean, Old Mate is very much an antithesis to that, and coming really back to ground roots and the real is like, I mean, David Lynch said once, you have just like an empty field, you put a shed on that, you put a janky little air conditioner thing in there and you get the air conditioner rattle, you put a flickering light in there and you've created from just an empty field, you've created the atmosphere of that kind of Lynchian, like, unsettling vibe. And you can always, I think, if you look deep in the eyes of an actor in a performance, you can, even if the visual effects are pristine, you can tell if it's artificial, purely because, I mean, the lighting's very flat, for one, because the green screen has to be so flat. It's just like the reality of that, exactly what you're talking about, John, that kind of stark, feeling like you're in it, just isn't there. I mean, what was the story of, it was, pardon me?
Ian McKellen?
Yes, yeah.
Hated working on the Hobbit trilogy.
Broke down.
Yeah, that's
Like,
right.
this isn't acting. This isn't acting.
Yeah.
Fascinating. What's your opinion on? I've heard almost the opposite as well. Kind of argument from, can't remember which actor, but they were saying that, fair enough, working in front of a green screen, it's not what, the earlier ways of, shooting film was like. That's totally understandable, but I think the argument was saying that, even if you're a performer, there's always going to be that level of pretend and fakeness, like the set kind of just ends 5 meters away from the edge of frame, and
Yeah, sure.
there'll be like a sound guy and like 5 other crew members, and whether you have a green screen or not, you still kind of have to find that imagination, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, what's your opinion on that? Like, do you agree? Do you disagree?
In terms of green screens?
Yeah, like, do you find it
on set as a whole, with all these fucking weirdos around you with claps and bits and shit?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, the argument, it's like, working in front of a green screen, it feels fake.
Yeah.
But, even though if you have a real set, there's still going to be that kind of sense of fakeness to it. I don't know whether that makes sense or not.
No, that makes sense.
I tend to think a lot about... Oh, sorry,
No, you go.
I was going to say, I think a lot of actors are quite used to the feeling of being on set. But, and of course, there's always going to be half the set that is the set. And, so often it's just a set that we just fucking move everyone around. But I think a key to that, actually, when the moment you hit action, is stillness. And from everyone, because it's this beautiful moment where everyone just sort of stops, and almost, actors' vision is based on movement. So if you don't move, then they can fucking just do the scene. But in terms of, I think, green screen, it's just this big thing that's there, and I don't know, when you're on set, there's this real industrial feel to like everyone that's there, and I guess it does depend on what you're doing, but you're in a costume. You can look around, and there's basically nothing but the set, and there's everything that you need to be able to see is there.
Yeah, you've got something to interact with, at least.
Yeah, and you can just kind of pretend that people aren't there, but like pretending that there's something where there's not.
It's harder.
It's easier to pretend that people aren't there than it is to pretend there's something where there's not.
Pretend you're looking out to a wide vista and you're just looking at fucking a wash of green.
Yeah.
Like 50 centimeters from your face, yeah.
Dino, you've done a fair bit of green screen work, haven't
I
you?
feel like in green screen, you do certainly have to tap more into your imaginative side and that childlike state of just imagining shit that's not there. And so it's more difficult, for sure, than just, like, as you said, John, being in the situation, and it's like a set that looks like the situation you're in, then it is so much easier to suspend disbelief that this isn't real. You kind of, I mean, I find it easier on green screen if it's a dramatic scene where it's two people talking or just interacting in a quite more of an intimate way. That way, if you just focus completely on what your character wants from the other person, the surroundings don't matter. Sort of more big elaborate things where you got to imagine a spaceship and shit like that isn't there. That's the tricky part of green screen, I think.
I think you said it their suspension of disbelief. I mean, actors are the vehicle for the audience to believe what's happening. And the audience suspension of disbelief, I mean, they're up against seeing the vision cutting every 2 seconds, which real life doesn't do. So that's an enormous hurdle that you get through with continuity, with a consistent grade, consistent graphics, and sound is pivotal to the suspension of disbelief by keeping it consistent. You know, if the sound clips, then you lose it. You drop the bundle straight away. But you know, when you're looking at, I mean, everyone's eyes, you're looking at someone's eyes, you straight away, like you're not, you know, you might wander, you might, you know, there's a chin, there's a nice hair, whatever. Yeah, you look around. But fundamentally, you know, you see a person, boom, you're on the eyes. And if you guys don't believe or don't appear to believe where you are, no one else is gonna. And that suspension of disbelief is lost, and it's so fragile. It's so hard to hold and maintain for a long period of time, and then not just hold the suspension of disbelief, but then you can start fostering emotions to start coming through. Yeah. On the baseline of a consistent reality that you're in. And I do see it time and time again. I mean, you make a really good point when it's a more emotional, like, you know, relational scene. It's two or more actors, but it's very like relationship focused. The background sort of just falls away anyway. But yeah, if you, oh my god, the worst shots are the wide shots where someone's just walking around the green screen, looking around, where it's just like your eyes are locking onto things in real life. You're looking at things, and on a green screen, there's sort of just this glidey sense of, you know, and it doesn't matter how real you make that look with visual effects. It's, you know, it's a losing battle. You can pull it off, but it's so much harder.
Like all that said, it depends on the way the scene's being shot as well. I can be in the true environment, in a gorge or something where something's taking place, in nature or whatever. But if it's a one take shot where you have to hit precise points for the steady cam, like, because they're covering like a bunch of different action, and at the right moment you have to be like, sometimes that's more difficult than being in a green screen situation where you don't have all those elements.
Yeah.
Depends how it's shot.
Yeah. It's like that technical element of hitting those marks consistently every time.
Just stay emotionally in it and be very tied to, like, I'll be standing there and there'll be some action being shot over here. It's coming around to me, and I have to be ready in the exact moment where they're hitting focus on me, where they pull back up to my face. Like, it's tricky, isn't it, John? I mean, if you should be just in it, if you're in it, regardless of what they're doing.
No, there's so much more to it, and then doing the same action every time for continuity and everything else and making that look natural.
I'm always acting is fucking catering is so fuck.
What's that, mate?
I said I'm always thinking about what catering is, so I just but best part of being on set, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But actually, you made me think before about like how these big sets have like the same problems and the same dumb shit. Yeah. My words. But remember being on Shang-Chi. I was on that one for a few days. That was fun, but you know, this giant crew and fucking all the most expensive, just that absolute Marvel, just fuck you money. And I had to like turn around, and there's a CGI creature that just goes in my face, and it's still just like a shitty green pillow on the end of a stick. And it's like, so good. So good. No technology can replace that. Yeah. I mean, and they had the most insane boom arm I've ever seen. The most insane jib arm, like extendable jib arm I've ever seen. But there was still just like green pillow on the end of a stick with some big. Hey, mate.
That was my whole argument with, you know, Alec Baldwin and Rust and the guns and everything like that. It's like they're making baby Yodas that tear at people's heartstrings with these amazing animatronics and eyes. Surely they can make a fake gun with real kickback. Like, surely that's in the realm of possibility. It seems like there's this disparity between the highest level of tech and the lowest level of cutting corners, and nothing in between.
Watching The Flood, how many live shots did you notice?
What do you mean,
how many do you think were blanks?
The guns.
There's a lot of shooting.
Well, I'd hope they're all blanks.
I would assume they were all blanks.
No. Not even a fucking
What?
blank.
What?
You were shooting
We
live rounds on
weren't.
set?
No rounds. Like no blanks, no nothing. Just click.
Oh,
So everyone was just
Oh,
pretending.
fuck.
yeah.
I thought you were trying to say you're just firing live rounds on
Yeah,
set.
they
I'm
were
like,
just
fuck
really in the
me.
moment.
This is
That's where I was
fucking
going.
bold to...
No.
Jesus.
Yeah, pretend. I mean, it's... I do think there's... You can sometimes tell if someone's faking it because it doesn't have, like, accurate kickback or something. But surely it's not that hard to put a little motor in there that when you pull the trigger, it just kind of, arcs up.
You can get these pneumatic guns in America that use these CO2 canisters to kick back the projection on
there you go. Perfect.
The only thing with that is like you get a little bit that gas kind of coming out the back of it a little bit. So
that sounds far easier to fix than the other issues that people
time,
have.
it's just kind of like, man, if you're an armorer,
Yeah,
like you've got one fucking job.
literally.
I don't know. Look, it's a tough job. I couldn't do. I don't know, but I know they've got a lot to deal with. But like, Jesus Christ, what?
There's no place for live rounds.
Why would live rounds be anywhere near a set?
There's no need.
That is like that should be step number one. Is like there is literally no need for any of that on set. None.
Nope.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works in the States, but I definitely know the couple of times I've shot with guns. It's just like armorer checks the weapon every single time.
They check it.
Yep.
They make you look right.
It's like
They show you, so go around, show everyone.
And then it's just the only time you have the gun is like right before action. Here's your gun. You shoot it. You give it back. They fucking check it again.
Yeah.
Straight away.
God damn.
They can be kind of pricks, and I'm so thankful for it. They're unpleasant people, but so they should be. Like, they're not fucking around.
Yeah,
The good ones don't fuck around.
Some great ones.
A couple of nice armorers.
Oh, they're lovely, but like when you're in that environment, especially when you're on the crew side, there's a lot of pressure, and the AD's coming down, and everyone hurry, and the armor is always this kind of like just pushes back from the safety point of view, and I'm so glad they always do.
Look, to be fair, if you had to deal with shithead actors all day being like, then you'd probably be pretty dirty too.
I'm the ones that I mean Gideon,
Gideon.
I mean
Yeah.
Legend of a bloke. Like when you're sitting around, catering at lunchtime, great to talk to. But yeah, when you're on the set and someone's telling him to hurry up, he just fucking fires back.
Yeah,
that's how mistakes don't happen.
I think it was Gideon he got really dirty at me because I'm one of those shithead actors. Was Gideon on? Was he the bloke on the afters? Was that Gideon or was it? I think it was Gideon.
Yeah.
So we had these. What were they? AR-14s or something like that. They weren't AR-15s. It was like the level below there or something like that. I can't remember. But
they were insane automatic rifles, whatever they were.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's sort of like assault style rifle. But and we had them clipped onto our vests, so you literally couldn't drop them. And he would come and clip them onto you and be like, right, don't fuck around. And but yeah, they were loaded with blanks. Oh, at the time they weren't loaded with blanks, but we were meant to be walking through the bush with them. But yeah, like I said, they're clipped to your vest. And I'm sitting there just with my gun being like, and my hands tend to wander, and I'm just like fucking around with things, and I'm playing with the clip.
Oh,
and
no.
I'm playing with the clip, and oh shit, I've accidentally unclipped it and dropped the gun, and it went muzzle first into the dirt.
Damn.
And I'm just going, oh shit. And all I've got is getting in my head being like, don't unclip it, don't you dare, like the last thing, don't fuck around with it. And of course, like it's the way it was, it's like the barrel, and it has this this sort of bit like this that just got filled with dirt. And I was just kind of like, oh fuck, can I just kind of pick it out a little bit?
Yeah, he's
I'm
gonna
just
keep
going
pushing
like,
deep.
I'm like, how can I save this and not get in trouble? But about a minute in, I'm like, no, you can't. You've just got to take it. So I just took it to Gideon, and I'm just like, I'm so sorry, and told him what happened, and he just gave me the dirtiest look. He was so dirty, but he was that disappointed dad where he was just so dirty with me, but he's like, look, that was stupid. But I'm glad you told me, because if you tried to fire that rifle as it is now, it would probably just explode in your face. And I'm just, but like, I felt like such a silly child. But
good on you for fessing up, man.
Yeah.
Safe thing to do.
oh, well, I mean, like, you know, it's a gun.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And the power of that thing shooting, man, was terrifying, even if it was blanks, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was telling someone about this the other day, because that was the first time that I'd ever like shot, you know, a rifle like that. And so the whole thing, it's not just, you know, shooting at a range. So we had this action where we're going, someone shoots from behind, and we turn around, and I like leap against a tree and fire off the whole clip, and I see muzzle flash coming past me from someone else's gun, and I'm just like, and we did one take of it, and and cut, and fucking Nick McRobbie, the director, is like, all right, we're gonna go for a second take, but don't smile in this one. I fired off this, gone dun 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 dun, fired off this whole clip, and just had this.
Like, you feel the power of it, like
stupid grin on my face.
you feel the power of it, like pulse through the air, don't you, and hit you or something. It's fucking
Right.
terrifying.
Yeah.
What a feeling. Jeez.
No wonder Americans don't want to give them up.
Terrifying, man. I don't like it.
Oh,
It kind of reminds me
so
of
much fun.
yeah.
I like the play aspect of it. Like, I've shot guns at ranges and gone skeet shooting, but you just kind of like there and you're shooting a gun and it's very safe and whatnot. But it was the play aspect of like, we're fucking army men in the jungle and you're up against a tree and there's a gun down there. That was the fun part of it.
It's your preference.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of those stories I've heard on the latest Star Wars movies, how it became quite a serious problem to get the actors to not do.
Oh yeah. Or
Yeah, or the zoom zoom zoom. Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking apparently
Laura Dern. There's like a
No,
shot of Laura Dern in like
Obi-Wan.
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor was terrible for it. He was just there.
Yeah. Dude, fair enough.
just
It's so hard to give that up.
Yeah, and it'd be underwhelming to be swinging these lightsabers around, not hearing the sound.
Yeah.
And if you are shooting blanks, they're real fussy about you blinking too, right? They're like, don't blink. Or don't flinch.
Oh, wow.
Don't flinch.
Yeah.
I would have thought the flinching would have made it more realistic.
Oh, it's if you're somebody that's, you know, shoots a weapon all the time.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It looks more badass if you don't.
It does, yeah.
But I feel like anyone, no matter how much experience you got, it's so fucking loud when you actually shoot a gun.
It is, isn't it?
You wouldn't not blink.
There was a couple of cool little bits and pieces from that shoot, and Gideon teaching us like how you would actually traipse through the jungle, looking for people that day. Every now and again, I'll watch movies and go, that's not how you do that. My favourite one was wherever your eyes go, the gun goes too.
Yeah.
Ooh,
But
that
when you
is a
see in
good
a
one.
movie like some special forces team will have the gun and be like,
Yeah.
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 apparently no,
Yeah. Yeah.
doesn't happen.
And never the finger in the trigger. It has to be on the outside of the gun.
Only
Like,
put the
Yeah,
trigger on the
nice.
finger if you're gonna shoot. Yeah.
I remember Gideon telling me a story about when he was on The Machinist and Jason Statham came up to him and was like, if you see me do anything naff, don't wait for cut, just you call it. Like, I don't want to be doing anything that makes me look naff.
I like it.
I love it.
That's peace. Not
Yeah.
bad, not bad.
This is critical that he did not look naff.
He doesn't look naff very often.
Well, I know he's a very un-naff guy.
He's the opposite of naff.
One of the gunfight scenes I hear is supposed to be super accurate is the heist exit
Heat.
bit in Heat. Yeah. Yeah, that Street
Heat's
Fighter
right.
apparently is like legit.
Yeah.
And the way, like, I think
It is
specifically
legit.
like Val Kilmer is like loading.
Yeah.
Apparently is like the creamiest thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
apparently, I'd sort of read that they play it at like marine training or some
Oh,
other kind of
wow.
military training. They're just like, this is how it's fucking done. Like,
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was Marines or SWAT or some shit like that, but I mean, yeah, there's something to be said about sort of like teaching a bunch of people who are meant to be sort of protecting people that like, here's how a fucking heist goes down, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is how you fucking do it. But yeah, I've heard the same thing, that Heat's just like,
Oh, wow.
The other one
was it?
is Tom Cruise in Collateral.
Oh, wow.
They're both Michael Mann films. There you go.
Michael Mann's on it.
There you go. Dude, Collateral was one
Tom's
of the
got some
most
balls,
early.
doesn't he?
Oh god, yeah.
Fucking hell.
That motorbike jump in that new Mission Impossible was ridiculous.
Like hanging on the side of a plane, taking off. What?
Oh god, yeah. That's.
I'll be like, get the fucking stunt man. I'm not doing that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, so Dean, we actually wrote into Old Mate a scene where I thought you could
I quit.
climb up to a really, really, really tall top of a building.
No tall buildings, please.
No, you've got to hang off the side of the forklift while it's going Mach 10.
I
Yeah.
have to do this in.
You
If I got
would,
offered a Die Hard, I'd be
you
like,
would jump in on
no.
that, John. Yeah.
Or a cliffhanger? No.
Oh, I love that it's such an easy way to elicit a response from an audience is just throw someone up on the edge of something really high. Everyone's palms
Yeah.
just straight away, just
I
sweating.
saw that thing with
Great.
my daughter. What's the one where the two girls try and climb that tower? It was pretty
Fall.
recent.
Oh, yeah. Was it The Fall, or actually just called The Tower or
I
something?
think it's called the tower.
Yeah, it was just that like some thin tower, it was like Amazing Race sort of shit.
And I started getting used to it. We're getting towards the end of the third act, and it's hardcore. Like it's like stressful. And then I think somebody must have smoked a fucking what's the name in the cinema, and the alarms went off, and we had to leave.
Oh no!
I still haven't seen the ending of it. 6 months later.
Oh,
It was one of those films that sort of came and went. I haven't seen it at all. Was it worth checking out?
Just for
I watched
the
it.
stress factor of being in the cinema and seeing those kind of heights, like
Yeah.
Jesus.
oh yeah, that would be. Dude, I get really sweaty palms on set when they ask me to go operate a boom lift.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my
I don't
god,
like it.
oh. I can't do it. And I'm like seeing guys out there doing the max 150-foot stretch.
Yeah.
And they're sending me like a IG photo of their view. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no, like,
Yeah.
I'm holding on like the entire time I'd be up there.
Yeah.
And you can't come down. You're like stuck up there for like 5 hours.
Oh man.
It's terrifying.
Isn't there footage of Tom? Speaking
Yeah,
of Tom
thanks.
again, you seen that footage of him on the very top of a insanely high radio tower, somewhere in
No. Was it for a film? Or was
in
it
a Middle Eastern country? Yeah, for a film.
Was it
Yeah,
Mission Impossible?
Oh, maybe,
the
yeah.
Burj Khalifa one?
And he's
Yeah,
just sitting
4 or
there
5
chilling,
of
like I'm like,
Ridiculous.
yeah, he's insane. Balls of steel.
Good on him though. We got some great cinematic, moments.
Yeah, I mean,
out
it's a
of
great
Tom.
way to publicize a film, isn't it? By
Market
doing
it,
that
yeah.
sort of stuff.
Yeah. Liability is out of control. Like I don't want to be the person having the conversation with the producers. Like, yes, we've got Tom Cruise in this movie. Yes, he will be jumping off a motorbike over a cliff and then pulling a parachute. It's fine. Like,
Yeah.
like don't worry. What do you mean? Don't
almost
worry.
feel like you
I'm
want
fucking
Tom-
worried. What's the life insurance on that man?
Yeah.
Like,
I almost feel like if you want Tom Cruise in a film, write this shit into it. And he'll be like, I'm doing it.
yeah, you have to do some unbelievable stunt that has never been done before.
Yeah.
That gives him an excuse to do some death-defying
Yeah.
feat. We're sending you up to space, the highest anyone's ever jumped from ever before. That you enter from the edge of Earth's gravitational field.
that halo
Okay, if we go any further,
You do it. You
Hey.
do it.
No, it's a shame that Halo jump, that scene you're talking about, that they covered it up with so much of that CG lightning and storm and stuff.
Yeah.
Just made it feel so green screeny, even though you know it's not.
Yeah.
It's like, man, it's so CGI laden. Like, you don't...
yeah, just let it be real. Let it be what it is.
Did you guys see
Yeah.
Gravity in the cinemas?
Oh my
Didn't see it in the
god.
With
cinemas.
Sandra Bullock and Clooney?
Mm.
That
Clooney,
was
yeah.
Ridiculous.
disconcerting too, like when they were spinning and stuff.
Mm.
And the screen seemed
Blew
to
my
spin.
mind. And that surround sound, how it just the sound just spins with them. It's mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing stuff. That one.
Sometimes it's a curse to be an actor, John, because sometimes I can imagine these situations to the point where I'm feeling it, I'm like, freaks me out.
Oh, I'm the opposite.
Are you?
When I see those situations when actors, and when you watch the behind the scenes and they do these they're up in the wires and they're doing all this cool shit, they're getting spun around.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
I would love to do that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm like, make me throw up, you sons of bitches. Let's go.
All right. I got some scenes I can write in.
Oh, please, fuck me up. But yeah, anytime I've been on set, and I started training at Stunt Gym in 2019. Fucking trying to get back there, but after shooting on Les Norton, and there's a scene where my character gets knocked off a balcony, and so I do like this little half whoop off the balcony, and they're like, right, get in the stunt guy, and the stunt guy goes off the balcony and falls 3 stories into like all these cardboard boxes. And I just go, fuck. I'm like, oh, can I give it a go? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I did.
For the reality of Old Mate, I think there's got to be one good moment of you doing something that's just like a one take, but we got to do it at the end.
The last shot of the whole film, just in case something happens.
Yeah. So you don't do another Love You Like That where you fucking rip your pec. Don't want you in a sling for the rest of the shit.
Like in 7, where Brad Pitt ran on the top of those cars.
Oh, actually broke his,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Cut his forearm real bad, right? Cut tendon and shit.
Oh, did he cut it? Yeah, right.
So they wrote in that he was in a sling.
In the cast first of it, yeah.
Yeah, because about halfway through the movie, and they write it in like he just gets hit with a crowbar by something like that by the bad guy like, on his arm, and then he goes, oh fucking, they just have him in a cast for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Which is the benefit of shooting sequentially, which is how I want to approach the arena stuff. So when you're actually in the arena, we're applying fake blood, the ground gets fucked up with dirt or whatever we have on there. We can sort of, I mean, it's Tarantino sort of style with like Kill Bill, where if you if you shoot chronologically, you can just leave a trail of destruction in your wake, and the continuity kind of sticks around because it's all behind you, as opposed to fucking around and resetting and trying to get things to match and everything else.
Yeah, and it also allows you to be a bit more flexible on the day as well. Like, let's go move the fight over here, or let's do it over here now instead.
Definitely want to approach that with the, how can I say this without giving too much away, where Nigel bursts in on Kit and Camilla Rose. People
Viewers at home, there will be a cool part in the middle of the movie that may or may not have something to do with what we've been talking about.
Great, that's how I'm going to start this. In that scene, I hope you're wearing undies at some point. In that moment, I really, really, really want to do it chronologically, and then just like fuck this set up. Just Nigel cricket bat, just swinging whatever happens, leave it behind us. Just leave it absolute trailer.
What kind of
punching holes through fucking
Please.
We need to decide what sort of undies Kit wears, I think.
Yeah, I was considering Speedos. I think custom Speedos is some old matey thing on it. Could be fun because you go to the beach earlier in the piece and you have a shower in the beach showers. Yeah, I think that'd be fun. I'm leaning on Boo, costume designer, to bring other ideas, and if you guys have any suggestions. But I've been thinking about this a little bit, and I reckon.
I feel like Kit would be like
Speedos that we then sell.
Maybe his missus buys him really nice underwear, but he never wears it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's got to be. I don't know, kind of a little bit unexpected.
I mean, part of me feels like we just get a 6-pack of those shitty tradie undies.
Well, maybe this is some prime product placement.
I apologise.
Maybe we hit up step one of those companies, and then be like,
those amazing tradie underwear.
Yeah, they're not the sponsor anymore. You've ruined that. You've ruined those shows. Yeah, I reckon this is probably a great place for product placement. Like let's hit up some undie companies. Bonds, Calvin Klein, Step One.
I had a thought of just like, because all the thugs in this movie, they're all out for themselves. Everyone's a cunt. What if
Yeah.
like Kit wears a cup when he goes like
You know, it's
maybe he
gonna
gets
Bad
start to
idea.
maybe he gets punched in the dick early on. He's just like, you fucking dirty cunts. And then when he actually goes to the finale, he's chucks on a jockstrap and fucking has a fucking cup. And then someone tries to hit him in the nuts. He's like, I fucking knew it. I fucking knew
Yeah,
it.
I like that. That goes along
funny.
with the whole
I think it
cricket
possi-
bat thing as well.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
really funny. It kind of goes against, I suppose, Kit's double down self-destruction. Like, you sort of don't give a fuck
Even about
about
his
anything.
balls.
So that seems a little bit self-preventative, but it's pretty funny.
A man can give a fuck about nothing in this world, but he does not want to get hit in the fucking guns.
That's the last.
Yeah, not
straw
giving a
right
fuck
there.
about your balls is pretty
There's a
extreme.
wide. Bring a job scope with you, and we'll see how it looks in the scene.
It's gonna have to be. Do they have different sizes? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh no, where's this going?
yeah.
Get the biggest one you can get.
We'll get a double XL and we'll try to hollow it out a little bit more so it can fit you properly.
Have you heard the story about Labyrinth, David Bowie, Jennifer Connelly?
No.
No.
No,
You don't
Why
know the
not?
film? You don't know
yeah.
the...
I don't know. The
Yeah,
story.
yeah, right, okay. So when he's doing the contact juggling, with the
Yeah.
glass orb, and he's throwing it around, they had a professional dude who would be his arm and then do all those tricks so that Bowie didn't have to learn all that. And so in the rehearsals and then during the shoots and everything, this guy's down next to his crotch, doing all this. And, he's in these tights for hours a day for, weeks, and would just sweat, and he felt bad for the guy who was down there his nuts. So he put a little baggie of poopery down his down the front. But then it made this really distinct extra bulge, which was known for that movie because he was wearing such tight pants, and the Bowie bulge and Labyrinth. And so then Jim Henson sort of looked at a shot from a distance and was just that's hilarious, keep it in. So then the rest of the shoot you had to pat it out.
That's amazing. Kind of reminds me of that. Well, it's not the same thing, but that Willem Dafoe thing in Antichrist.
Oh, the stunt cock.
The stunt cock, yeah.
Stunt cock.
He
What
had
happened?
to get him a stunt cock because his is too big.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's legit.
It was
Yeah.
porn star level too big, so they had to get a guy with a regular
Yes,
cock.
Defoe.
That's beast.
When you rock up on set and then the director and everyone's like, well, the people who are on the closed set go, we can't have that.
That's just unobtainable there.
That's really funny because he's quite a slight dude as well. I saw him at I think it was in the Whitney or possibly it was somewhere in LA, some art gallery in LA. I saw him there, and he's not that tall of a guy. He's pretty, and he's very lean as well. So he's quite a smallish dude. So now I have that that duality. That's immense.
Yeah, they needed to have a stunt cock for him on Spider-Man as well.
John, do you know Adam Demos?
Peter Parker and nice.
Do you know Adam Demos? I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's an Aussie actor, and he landed a role in an American series, and it was all over the internet that in episode 4 at this minute, his giant cock is in the scene, in a shower scene.
You
It
can
was
see
all
it.
over the internet. Yeah, you can see it full frontal.
I'm
right,
looking on the internet now.
Adam Demos.
What the heck?
I worked with him on my first feature that I ever did, and I
wow.
did not know.
What feature was that?
Oh, it didn't get finished, man. I won't say the name.
All right,
That's
Google
such a-
safe search is
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, right.
Did you search him?
Yeah.
I don't recognise him. I don't know him, but
He's a nice dude.
yeah, right.
But it's his. Imagine that being your biggest claim to fame so far, is that you got a gigantic cock in the shower scene.
I mean, you can do worse as far as first impressions go.
Yeah, I mean, as an actor, you'd just be like, yeah, but I'm a good actor.
He's a good actor, I got to say.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Anyway,
Man,
Well,
this-
we're gonna find. I mean,
What are we
This
talking about
podcast just evolves.
thought we had standards.
Come on.
Yeah, well, if we don't end up going with the jock strap on ours, then you're going to be in tidy whities.
I'll be fine,
Dane.
bro.
So people are gonna start whispering probably similar things about you.
They already are.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm the one doing the whispering.
Anyway, do we have any Reddit
This
questions?
is fucking.
Yeah,
Oh my
Reddit
God.
questions.
Yeah, let's do it. Alrighty.
As you can see, Ben, we're
Ben's
totally
done that one.
organised on this thing.
Yeah, it was so good. I've had these. All right, here you go. From at Gnarly Dards
Gnarly Dards.
asked, what is your weirdest habit? Nothing to do with old mate. Just curious as to what your habits are.
Weirdest.
Weirdest habit. I mean, this is pretty revealing, but I have pretty bad, Mitch knows this, I have really bad OCD, so like mine are endless.
Yeah, would they be habits? I don't know.
The rituals become
Probably so.
habitual. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Let's go outside of that.
I feel I've got lots of bad habits, but not like weird ones. Weirdest habit.
I mean,
Okay, well, let's just turn the question around. Let's just make it notable habits, something interesting.
What's a notable
Interesting habits.
well, I think I've got like I don't know how weird it is, but it's like it's unusual. Like I have a really hard time eating dinner until I found something interesting to watch. Like I'll get takeaway, I've cooked dinner, it's on the plate, and then I'm like surfing between like Stan and Netflix and Disney for like 15 minutes to find something I haven't watched.
I have been there.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to start eating until I find something.
Yeah, because if you do start eating, then by the time you find something to watch, you're basically finished. Now we're just fucking wasting time.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true.
Yeah, I relate with that one. I like that one.
That's
Mine's not-
funny, actually. I've been trying to practice mindful eating, which sounds a bit hippy-dippy, but it's... we all just kind of like watch TV while we're eating and whatnot, but in the same way that, you know, practicing mindfulness and being aware of everything around you, mindful eating of just eating.
Mm-hmm.
But and that is the only action that you're doing, and that with every bite you're like tasting the different things and trying to just focus on what you're eating.
Huh.
Which is a bit strange, but I think it's kind of, I don't know if it helps me or not, but it's like, how often do you actually just eat food and not have any other secondary thing that you're doing?
No, the stimulus.
Now I feel bad.
Almost.
I do. I've done a bit of that in mindful cooking as well. So just like the whole process of, and you definitely appreciate food a lot more. You taste it more. You definitely have much more of like a gratitude for the animal or you know, the vegetables. Just like the fact that life was involved, the sunlight was growing them for however long. They, you know, had the whole thing, and then, you know, it was sort of life eating life, the Ouroboros kind of the whole cycle. And you kind of go, we don't live without feeding off something that was living, you know, and just being far more, I don't know, aware that's what we're partaking in.
I thought of a weird habit.
Oh,
When I'm watching my team, the Newcastle Knights,
Yeah.
almost every tackle that the other team has the ball, as they're running, I say, knock on, in my head or out loud. And when they kick the ball, I say, you got nothing, as it's in the air. Hoping that, you know, somehow my thoughts will affect the situation.
And then if anyone else says anything at all, you go, that's wild.
Yeah, that's wild. And if they don't score, I figure it was because of me saying it.
Yeah. It's all your fault, Dean.
Well, they knock on, I'm
The
like,
Knights,
"Ha!" I caused that.
the Knights win or lose by your thoughts.
Yeah. That's pretty.
I don't know how weird of a habit this is, but I am a serial nail biter, like
Oh,
chronic.
wow, yeah.
Oh, brutal.
Same here. Yeah.
Oh my god!
I
If you watch
used-
this podcast back, I'm just gnawing my fingers. They bleed. Like I just blood running down my hands.
I used to be a chronic nail biter, and now I never ever bite them.
Oh wow! Well done.
I don't know what
Yeah,
happened.
I'm quite bad at it too, man. Like, especially on days when I'm on set, when I'm stressed, if I'm AD, like that's when
Oh,
it really
ADing.
is happening. Yeah.
To
Yeah.
the stump.
Oh, fully, man, it's bad.
I think I just got clippers once and did it. And I'm like, no,
Yeah. Wow.
this is a good
I
thing.
don't. I don't do it for the keeping them short. I do it for the one habit and two, like if you have a bit,
Like smoking, right?
there's like a bit, kind of, but it's just like if you've got a bit, then it's sort of like something you can sort of work on in the background. So you're on a mission
Yeah,
to get the
I'm
bit,
sure mine was that.
and then you get it, and it fucking hurts, but you're like, yes, I got it.
And then you bite too far. I always find it's uneven. You're like, oh, I'll just even it up, and then you bite too much and it hurts for 2 days. You're like, fuck.
No.
Yeah. No, I've got to the point where I'm like, I bite the sides, I bite down, I bite so much that it fucking causes a problem down on my fingers, and I'm biting that, and it's just like it's made its way down from the nails to just the thing, and they bleed from like pretty much every other day. I go too far, and it's fucking, and that's become part of it now. So it's just like this kind of, I don't know, sort of like some people tap their foot religiously, you know, you have that sort of outlet of energy. Mine's just gnawing.
I've got a weird habit actually that's to do with acting, and I don't think I do it in regular life, but I'm not. Yeah, and this to all you young actors out there, this is the importance of watching back your tapes, because you'll see that you have these little habits that you tend to do, and I don't feel like I do it in just normal everyday life. It might be an anxious thing, it might be overthinking, but like my lips will move quite a lot, and I often watch my tapes back, and my tongue will be going fucking a mile a minute while I'm doing things. If my mouth is open, I'll see my tongue like banging around. But this one as well, just it's strange.
I saw a little bit of that on Old Mate. You could very easily cut around it. It's not too in your face. You don't see too much of it. But yeah, that your tongue's on. It feels like there's just like you have so much energy, and when you're bringing it, there's just these little, you know, it's just like if you have a torrent of water and there's more than one, you know, outlet, then you're going to have little bursts out, you know. So you sort of plug all the holes, and then even more kind of pushes through. And it's almost like, I don't know, maybe even a way that you're kind of toning yourself down or something and pulling yourself back. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember doing voice classes, and it's just like, you know, work before you're even on stage and doing things, just doing so much work to relax your jaw or relax your tongue in your mouth, relaxing. And, you know, I stopped doing that for ages, and I need to pick that type of thing back up of like before performing. It's like coming to a complete relaxed state. It's like
was that helping? Like we kind of like once you're then in the scene, that relaxation carried over, and you found you doing it less.
Yeah. Well, I find
right.
these days, like if I'm working in class doing a scene or whatnot, it's just before, you know. And there's a funny thing. I think it was like Robert De Niro was like, action doesn't mean you have to start acting. It's like it's a very helpful thing, even if you're doing like a really anxious scene or whatnot, of just taking that second of going,
breath, man.
making sure that you are relaxed, because it's only from a relaxed point that
Emotion comes
you
out.
can really sort of move however you want. And I'm terrible for being too tense, and I've watched back tapes of mine. I was just before I jumped on here, I was just looking at some like class tapes and just like walking around like this and kind of being anyone who's stiff on screen, they just look like a gum nut.
And it's the normal human reaction to being observed so closely by something is to be self-conscious, isn't it? I think it gradually it gets better, right? Gradually,
and to rush as well.
Yeah.
It's just an inkling to sort of just get it over and done with.
Especially when you're on set, there's a lot of external pressure on you. You know, having that really doesn't, you know, it's not conducive to a good performance. So it's interesting that you say that, because I didn't think about it from that point of view. But like, man, I'm kind of like just bringing in my own experience here with like archery and stuff. And when I'm like aiming and shooting, there's like this really fine line between not overthinking it, because then my arm starts rattling too much, and then I'm just like trying to keep the thing on target. But then when you don't think too much, you lean towards that again. So there's like this fine line of just like keeping it in your mind, but like not too much, and just having that relaxed kind of zen moment.
Yeah.
Like, that's something I've never thought about from a performance.
I think every millisecond of an actor's performance, you're dancing that fine line between the shaking off target and the being relaxed.
I did
enough
get
to
in-
just be in it in the moment.
I did get in the habit of, rather than saying action, I think, what is it, Clint Eastwood or someone does something similar?
Yeah, he does.
Rather than saying action, kind of just saying, and when you're ready, go for it.
Yeah.
And I did find that people would then run into it in a bit more of a it's your agency as actors to then begin when you're ready sort of thing.
I get that. I got to
yeah.
keep in mind.
I think I might implement, maybe not. Yeah.
In your
maybe
own
not
time
exactly
or
that
something
one.
like that, yeah.
It's interesting.
Because
Yeah, as long as that one doesn't come across as passive aggressive.
that idea of like
Oh, fucking in your own time.
in your own time, mate. That idea of action. If you
Go!
Yeah, do
Fucking
something.
fucking go.
Yeah. Now!
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very like,
It's interesting. I saw a video on Instagram just before we came on with Ben Young, who did Hound. Incredible Aussie director. And he was saying, I never say action. I never say cut. He just says, we're rolling and you can just kind of go whenever you want. And, okay, the scene's done. And, well, he says he doesn't cut. He doesn't even cut the sound. He doesn't cut the vision between takes either. He just says, we're just gonna do another one now whenever you feel like it.
Whoa.
There's some
you
boom
gotta-
operator just like
yeah,
fuck,
you got to manage some other relationships when you're doing that. Yeah, you want to, crew to be on board with that.
That said, I think some directors only want to be directors to be able to say action and fucking cut.
Yeah, fuck that though. Ben was very instrumental to me really early on in my career. I was like 17.
Yeah.
I just hit him up. I had no idea what he was doing. It was as he was filming Hounds of Love,
Yeah.
and was
For
just
Hounds
like,
of Love.
he was in Perth. Yeah, I was in Perth. So I just dude, love to grab a coffee sometime. He's like, yeah, sure, let's do it.
Yeah.
And I went to this place and sat down with him, and he's giving me like absolute golden advice. And then I moved to Sydney, and then Hounds of Love comes out, and I'm like, oh shit, that's what he was doing when he sat down with me. Like, what was he doing sitting down with me while he was making that?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. It was like absolute legend, and he's spoken a few times since then. And he's pointed me in the right direction. But yeah, he's a good dude. And backstage WA, where he's doing those conversations, the guy who runs that podcast, Ian, he was the guy that hooked us up with the cinema. It's his cinema in Perth, Backlot, where we did that first test screening of Old Mate in Feb. The Perth industry is pretty tight. Like it's just even the arts in general, like Draft, whose song we've got for Old Mate, and Dean, you'll dance to that.
Wait for
Exception. Fucking love it. Even just talking to him, who a producer, mutual friend of both of ours, and Ben and Ian, Steve Brown, absolute legend. Steve Brown shouting out you in a big way at Monsters as Friends on Instagram. Absolute mad cunt. But yeah, like everyone over there, Draft, Ian, Ben, Steve, they're all just like, yeah, if you're doing something, like if I can help you get where you're going, you're clearly on a mission, we're gonna help.
I love that.
And it's just the whole ethos.
So good.
Yeah, and Sydney's got a lot of, I mean, it's the people more than the place. But I mean, there's so many places, Hollywood especially, like LA in general, but I think if there's a bit more of that give before you get, like, you don't need something in return. You don't need to go, what's in it for me? It doesn't need to be transactional. If you do just give, because like, okay, someone's on a mission, let's help them get there. That comes back around in so many weird ways that you would never
It does,
expect.
man. And you never know when that connection is going to materialize into that.
Yeah,
right?
totally. And you don't know who you're helping. You don't know what they're going to do next.
Like the thing that you hear about Hugh Jackman, that he treats the director the same as the runner or the team person.
Yeah. I love that, yeah. One of the Old Mate ethos, I have the sort of the Dogma 22, which was very much like how we're going to approach shooting it as a point of difference from things we'd just been doing, more virtual production-based kind of stuff. One of the things was the director is the same as the highest paid actor and the lowest paid technician, and has permission to dress like either.
Fair enough.
You see his directors walking around in like fucking scarves and whatever, and then you see them just like wearing all black, and you sort of don't really have anything in between.
So the runner's going to wear like a baseball cap and have a beard.
That's generally how it is.
Any more?
He says, everyone must dress exactly the same as me.
Yeah.
I've really lent into just like loud shirts. Not doing it now because I'm wearing
I've seen you wear some loud shirts.
old mate shirts.
Oh, what's that? What's that mean?
Yeah.
You get us some shirts
what
as
is
well, man.
this?
Is that an old mate shirt that's available at this link?
I think it very well might be. I think everyone should go out and buy one
I
right
fucking
now.
love one myself.
Dean, have you,
Wait till next week.
Bought yours yet?
I still don't fucking have one. Did you buy yours?
No.
I have a couple that I have to give back that don't fit. Have I given them back?
I
did
think you
give
gave them back
on the shoot,
on the shoot. But mate, you wait till Wednesday when you're down here.
Holy shit!
I have
I'm
some
gonna get a
goodies.
script
I have some
and a
goodies.
shirt. I know.
You're gonna get a nicely bound script that John haphazardly throws away behind him.
Is it bound in leather?
Zero respect for my work, for my art. I don't
Have I ever shown respect for anything that you've ever done?
you show the appropriate amount of respect that each thing I've done deserves.
Do we have any more,
The comedy value.
any more Reddit
Huh?
questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. At Film Hogan asks, who do you look up to?
Well, when I'm working with John, I look up to John.
Let's say in a film. Yeah. See, he's fucking
In
6'6".
in two different ways.
6'7".
As a human being and as a giant man. Sorry, mate.
It's a tall individual.
Uh,
Yeah, who do we look up to?
Oh man, I have so many people I look up to for different reasons. Okay, I really like Robert Rodriguez. I love the career path that he had. I love that. I love how much of a renegade he is. I think it's incredible that he's willing to just kind of YOLO all his own kind of films in a manner of speaking. I think it's great, you know, to know you don't have to be reliant on a heap of cash and having a crew of so and so many people. There's always a way to get something done in that level. I think that's really cool. I love David Fincher. I don't necessarily like the way that he directs. I feel like his approach is a little bit excessive. You know, doing 100 takes of something like that. I don't know if you really need to do that, but
I don't know if you need to nail people's phone to the wall either, but you know, that's just
True.
aside.
True, he did that. Yeah, like, I love the quality of his films. They always feel so refined and immaculate for some reason.
It's just immense attention to detail.
Yeah,
To the point where he'll take those 100 takes and he'll pick out 2 different ones for the different performances, and then people have to slice them together
Exactly.
with 2 shots.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. But I don't think many directors will have the luxury of having a producer that'll let them do that.
I suppose proof's in the pudding when you've done that many ads. You know, like that high-end advertising for that long. You kind of just no, I'm gonna do it my way.
And I guess I really look up to the classic cliche of Tarantino. I just love his passion and energy for cinema, and the fact that he makes movies that are almost about movies or referential to filmmaking or cinema. I think that's a really beautiful kind of love letter way to go about it. So yeah, I love so many different people and respect them for a lot of different reasons, I guess. Yeah.
I think Rodriguez's his sort of making of El Mariachi. I don't know what that was actually called, but he does the full breakdown
or something.
Yeah, I think that's essential viewing. I mean, that was so instrumental to the start of my career when I was in like high school.
Fully. Even just that thought, like that thing he says, like just go out, print out a bunch of business cards that says you're a filmmaker. Now you're a filmmaker. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, you know that. Yeah, there's no barrier, I guess. That's so true.
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot less in the age of LinkedIn, but
And then he reinvests everything back into his own thing.
Does he?
Like he built his own sound studio, so he has everything on site.
Shit.
What a beast!
Nice.
Yeah, he even didn't he do the soundtrack to Death Proof for like $1 or something like that?
Did he?
A favor. Yeah.
I'm always skeptical about things like that. Like maybe he took a back end percent as well. Like,
yeah, just a bit. Yeah,
sort of like the Patagonia CEO who sort of seemed like he gave his company to charity, but when you really boil it down, he still controlled these particular shares. That meant he still made all the decisions, so he got all the public clout of seeming like he was giving up his billion-dollar company while still handing over keeping in the family. Like, ooh, it's never all that.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's also so cool that he loves cooking so much for some reason. Like, he's so obsessed like barbecue thing, and it was like he made like the chocolates that they use in the Alita Battle Angel film. I'm like, man,
oh wow,
that's cool, like. Yeah, that whole Planet Terror thing about that guy's like secret sauce, the barbecue. Like he makes like a cooking video on how to make that sauce.
He definitely seems like he's living life. I remember seeing a video just on his Insta of him playing guitar, like just acoustic guitar, sitting out on a rock somewhere with Baby Yoda sitting next to him.
Oh, sick!
Like, you can see that love of cooking come through some of his scenes, like with what's the film where Johnny Depp is the hitman, and he's talking about the incredible pork or something that he's eating.
Oh,
I don't know. Nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Nope.
No. Sorry.
Incredible pork. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and he's talking about the way it's prepared, like, and it has some kind of double meaning in the scene. I can't remember what it is. Once Upon a Time in Mexico, is that it?
Sounds like something he's done. Haven't seen it.
I feel like that could be it. That's not the Antonio Banderas one? There's one of them with him in it.
Yeah, that was sort of the sequel to El Mariachi.
Yeah. Desperado, that's it. Okay, never mind.
I can't remember now.
I can't. I have to look it up.
Yeah. John, who do you look up to?
It's a hard question. Who do I look up to? I'm not too sure. Sometimes it feels a little bit like asking, what's your favorite movie type thing. If I'm speaking purely from a perspective of acting, it's like I don't know if I really, at this point in time, sort of look up to anyone as much as I look to performances and go like, oh my god, that was incredible! Like, how did they do that? So you could say just like, I look up to Daniel Day-Lewis because it's like the fucking incredible performance he had in bloody Gangs of New York or My Left Foot, and then you hear little bits and pieces of in My Left Foot how he made the crew carry him up a hill on in a
oh my god, really?
Like the fuck why? I don't know, like when I hear the term like who do you look up to, it often, I don't know, I've always thought of that as something that you need to know that person. I don't know, I'm getting a little bit philosophical about it, but like as an actor, I look to performances that are a thing that I think are fantastic. But then when I think of like who I look up to, it's like who do I know personally that I aspire to sort of have the sort of values and how they treat people and how they are in the world. And I don't know any of that about any actor that I've watched in movies and whatnot. But I don't know. It's a difficult question, and maybe I should think about that a bit more. But,
I think that's a great answer. I mean, that's really it kind of pulls back some of the layers. I think I would kind of agree with you in some ways, and I think my answer might be a little bit of a cop out, but maybe you might relate with it, John. in some ways, I think I look up to everyone as much as I possibly can, because there's something you can learn from everyone. But there's also like, there's so many people that, so many great philosophers. They're like, okay, well, they've really clocked onto a great way of thinking about things. So I definitely look up to that perspective. But then you hear about the rest of their lives, and you're like, that I don't agree with any of that. So you can't solely put someone in a category of idol status if you don't actually agree with everything. So I don't know. I mean, there was a point where I kind of I just meditated on the word understand, and kind of understand and sort of standing under. And so to stand under something, to be humbled by someone or something, I think is the prerequisite to then fully understand something. You can't really understand it if you're coming at it from knowing better than it.
Yeah, right.
And so I think in some perspective, everyone on earth has some experience that I've never had. And I think, just being humbled by as many people as I possibly can. And looking up to everyone. I look up to the three of you in all sorts of ways. Look up to Mason and Jordan quite a lot as well. And then if you come from that perspective, things you guys do, it's like, cool, pocket that one, that's great, love it. That one, not so much.
From the perspective of,
but I don't know. Yeah, bit of a cop out, doesn't really answer it.
I use the term look up to as well, because I don't like to put anyone above or below me, because I think that kind of like you're giving yourself limitations. But I mean, the whole thing of Stallone, that everyone knows, where he knuckled down and wrote that story and was broke and was offered money and held out to say, no, I want to play this role. Somebody that takes the reins themselves in this industry, where they're probably being ignored across the board for multitude of reasons. Oh, fuck this! Like I believe in this. I'm going to do this. I'm gonna stick it out and make it happen. Like, I like that attitude that he has. Look where it's got him.
Yeah,
love it. Good answer. Love it.
I mean, what we're doing with this film.
Yeah, he's a great
same
example.
thing, right? Like,
it's definitely. I mean,
willing
so much of that. Hey,
it's gonna happen.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I have them.
Yes.
So many t-shirts.
And you've got Rocky on your t-shirts in these, and you've only got those t-shirts after the movies came out. You guys are on a t-shirt fucking before the movie's out. Here we go. You guys are on beers. I think there is. I think it's where is it? Where is the thing?
Yeah.
It's not there because that's above the screen. Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
It's funny. I remember when I was at acting school, every time I saw a good performance from someone, I'd blow their picture up to an A, just so it would fit on an A4, and just print it out and just add it to the wall. And like
that's cool.
My sort of uni box that I was living in, like one wall was almost completely covered in faces, and it was everything from like your giant stars to like guys who played really small, but not really small, but smaller, but sort of pivotal roles. There's a guy who comes to mind, David Morse, who was in everything in the fucking 90s, but he was also such a good like supporting actor who would just like bolster what other people are doing. If you look up David Morse, you'll instantly recognize him. But fuck it, just like my memory's so terrible these days, and I kind of wish I still had all those shitty A4s printed out, or at least just because it was really good to sort of something to sit at and just look at all these faces and go, oh yeah, he was in that, he was in this, he was fucking.
We're gonna do like a movie a week. We've thought about running on empty a few weeks in a row.
So,
I watched it. I watched it.
I watched it.
I watched it. Yeah, no, I watched it. I liked it.
Wait, what? What movie?
No, sorry, this is weeks ago. Didn't get
You didn't watch it yet?
Huh? Yeah, no, yeah. What did you guys think? Because I did watch it. Yes, I did. Oh, actually, hang on. Before we jump into that, the car, the Ford GT 351 that we shot in Old Mate. That is also in that. It's in Running on Empty. It's also in a photo that I have here, which I nicked from Frankie's Pizza, which no longer exists in Sydney. And they had the walls covered in pictures. And so on the very last night they were in existence, I nicked this photo. And it's also the same car. Well, I don't know if it's the car, but it's the same colour and the same detailing. And but literally yesterday I was going to upload the episode of Yarns to YouTube, and there was an ad that popped up on YouTube to enter. It's a site called classicsforacause.com.au, and you go into the bidding to win a car, and the money goes to charities for Aussie veterans and such. I vetted them first because I was like, I don't like the Classics for a Cause, because I was like going to the running to win a car. I don't know if it's legit, but they've featured on Channel 7 and Sky and Morning and Breakfast and whatever the fuck. So they seem pretty legit. I like the causes that they support. And the car that they had that you could go into the running to win was an orange Ford GT351. So I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. So I've entered. I bought a bunch of tickets to enter. If we win that car, we can just shoot with it whenever we want because we'll have it, and then get all the car shots out of the way, sell it. It's worth $250,000, but it's featured in a movie, so sell it for more. You guys can fucking sign it or something, and then use the rest of the money to fund the rest of the movie. I'm like, this is fucking amazing. And I also, just put all your DNA all the way through it, increase the value of this car as much as possible.
I went to a. This reminds me.
Dean's DNA is good DNA.
In Newcastle.
There's value there.
And I threw out my piece of crap car with his wheel fucked out. The guy that was shot.
Oh, yeah.
Have I ever told you this? I think I told you. I was with Army.
All right.
Yeah. We were walking back to my car at the end of the night after the screening. It was the only car left in the car park. And there's three young dudes that were like early 20s. They were stunning off their heads. And they're like all standing around my car. And I'm like, how you going, boys? Like, in a bit of a way, like, fuck off. Like, don't fuck off. And one of them goes, it's fucking man, mate. And one of them's going, oh shit, is it? Yeah, and the dude's going, I used to fucking own this car. Like, I felt like the biggest loser that this stoner that was only 20-something used to own my car. He's like, yeah, I fucked in the back seat so many times. Man. I'm like, fuck off. Worst.
Oh, no.
You don't want to see the face of the person fucking in your car. Like, no.
Oh, man.
You can throw him in there, make him clean it. Unless you're looking in the mirror. That's fucked. Yeah, I do not want to. I would make that kid clean that fucking car from top to bottom on the spot. Fuck that. This Classics for a Cause, I reached out to them. I emailed them. And was like, I don't know if this would be a value add for you guys, but I feel like there's some synergy there. And we are looking for a bunch of, older Aussie cars. So if you guys are, putting these up for competitions, being able to say this is a car worth this much, that also featured in a fucking baller Aussie movie, might be something there. So
there's some weird serendipity going on here, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how many of these cars are floating around. That'd be probably the first thing to find out. Yeah, dude. Yeah. The fact that the ad popped up and it's the same fucking car again.
You're gonna put a photo of
same, like orange, same detailing. The black stripes on the bonnet. Yeah, go on. Fucking right. Now. Anyway, there's also potential there. I mean, I just like the idea of having more angles of, real world support through the making of the film. There's all sorts of other ways that we're doing that and, supporting, diversity and people in marginalized communities in Australia for old mate, behind the scenes. And I just love the idea, like, if we can be, featuring cars that then go up for auction, competition, and the money goes towards, supporting Australian Army veterans. It's like, fucking awesome. So we'll see what Classics for a Cause say.
Cool.
But if you guys have 10, 25 or $50 to spare, if you want to jump on Classics for a Cause, I bought a whole bunch of tickets, spent a little bit more money than I probably
I'm
could
happy
have.
to take the car.
It'd be so great to just have the car. But yeah, if you guys jump on, I think it's still in the running.
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, bro, you win the car, man.
Cut. I'll just drive off. And I won't come.
May you let us borrow it for the shoots?
All right.
Like that would be. Yeah, it'd be payment for the very first shoot where your car fucked out. The ultimate win. But wouldn't that be just crazy? It's just like we could just when do we want to do the car shots? Whenever we want, pull it out of the driveway. Like
It's so good.
madness. Anyway, oh my god, I couldn't even imagine. Yeah, I wonder if I'd license it to the company or personal. Accountant questions. Can a special production company, special production vehicle, the SPV, like the actual company that makes a movie, can they own a car? They can own assets, so surely they can own a car. But then it would have to change hands. Companies own cars.
I think you can.
There'd be no reason that a company couldn't own the car. Yeah.
I mean, because you
The company would be paying the insurance on the car because it's a film-related expense.
Give it a go.
That seems kosher. Seems fine.
I mean,
And
you
then-
got people buying weird stuff all the time as assets. Like, I was just watching Making of the Abyss, man. They were buying jacuzzis, and they were holding... Yeah, they were buying jacuzzis because every time you're stepping into that tank, man, you're like freezing your ass off. So the only way to keep the actors warm, like especially through the nights, is you got to buy a bunch of jacuzzis, and then...
The only way. It's the only way. We need these jacuzzis.
Yeah, like they were like full on like talking to like the office to try and get the budget for it all, and then they ended up holding like, all the production meetings in there as well. So it was just like
They nearly drowned
jacuzzis
too, right? Some of them.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Sorry.
I might be exaggerating.
Yeah. There was a moment where
Somebody blacked out, and the safety divers had to get.
Harris. What's his name? Harris. Oh God. Yeah, there was two moments I remember hearing about. There was one where Jim Cameron, one of the divers, handed him the snorkel, the thing, but they gave
Harris.
It's like Ed Harris. Yeah, I think the same thing happened to Cameron and Harris. Like they both got given this, the rebreather, but they were given it upside down. So when they took it, half of it was just filling up with water, and every time they kept breathing in, like they were getting water. All the time. Apparently, was it like James Cameron or something? Started freaking out, but the safety diver didn't realize that he was freaking out because of this. He thought he was freaking out because of just anxiety of being like deep underwater. So he was just holding, like just bear hugging the guy to get him to calm down. And then Jim Cameron apparently like straight up just punched him out in the face to get him up.
This is a fucking great film, bro.
Poor guy got fired the next day, obviously. So
until the ending, and I'm like, but the when they got.
It's solid.
There's no way both of them can swim back from the sub. It's like gradually filling up.
It's
and then the resuscitation scene, I was like, holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And the oxygenated fluid gimmick, that's cool. That was cool. Like they actually got real rats. That
you see it sort of choke on it for a bit, don't you? And then
wow.
None of them died, apparently, so it's all fine. Yeah, it's like that reflex of breathing in liquid, man, would absolutely freak you out. I don't know what it would be like, but it must feel like you'd be actually drowning, and then once you've got it into your lungs, I guess you're fine. But
ultimate trying to swallow a gigantic pill, isn't it?
Not pleasant.
Just take it in.
Anyway.
All right.
Yeah. Oh God, no.
The jokes are too easy to make right now. I'm not gonna make them.
No.
I was going to mention as well. I'm just keeping an eye on the time. What do we want to? Cause I noticed the last one was 2.5 hours.
That went out of control. That was we didn't factor in the fifth person because that got really carried away. But I was just about to say old mates of the week. and
Yeah,
about
cool.
to wrap up, because I think 2 hours is probably the max we should do.
It was funny. I was
the shoot.
I was just talking to Mrs. Today, and she's just like, "Oh, I've had to do the last one over like a whole bunch of sessions," and like, I'm like, "You're so committed." But like, yeah, if the missus is like, "Mate, I'm struggling to get through," then I'm like,
You're gonna
fuck.
start doing fire teabagging.
Well, for the sake of a race, we will keep these shorter. I
Yeah, you teabagged,
perhaps.
and you got tired the other.
Oh my
Tired
god,
teabagging.
so good. When you came in from the mirror dimension and started squatting over the camera, and then you fucking just rolled yourself over and bashed it off. Hey, have pity on me. These take minimum of 1 full day to edit each time. Like,
Yeah.
I'm losing a day a week every episode. The first one took probably 2 or 3 days. I'm like, that's excessive. I got to cut this down.
Yes.
Started making fewer edits, but it's still like to watch it all through, make sure we cut out any bits of shit that we say that we shouldn't have said, and then and then do the whole thing. And if someone else jumps in, the screens all fuck around. So I need to all the backgrounds with the dividing us up into 4 or 5 screens. Have an extra screen on screen. Put that somewhere. Photo of Dean or the photo of Carson Bull and shit. Put that somewhere. If I can do all of that, split everyone up, rearrange everyone, pull out all the best bits, get to the cut downs, start posting the cut downs. It's a fucking. I need to start paying someone just to take care of this. I want someone to go back into the ones we've already done and pull out like 10, 15-minute chunks of just great little vignettes, because I think that'll be the shit that people will really be watching.
Gotta get a guy off Fiverr or something like that.
Yeah, it's actually not. Yeah, for this kind of thing, probably not a good idea.
All right.
Be,
Yeah, let's call it Old Mates of the
All
Week.
Mates of the week.
how does this work?
So, someone this week.
Wow.
It's kind of
Okay.
extended beyond the week. I mean, Dean has been pretty liberal with his old mates of the past 5 years. Someone that is just defining an old mate. You don't know the name, but you're telling the story about someone, fucking old mate over there. So generally erring to the side of positive, adding to vibes, never taking away from vibes. But sometimes there's just a fucking old mate who's just done some dumb shit. So someone this week.
Who's someone interesting that you've taken note and been like, fucking old mate over there? Who's there? Just something that interesting. I can start us off if you just to give
Let's do it.
And look, it's not someone that I don't know, but the old mate of the week for me is Johnny fucking Boxer.
Boxer. Saw that. Fucking A.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's a lot of people watching who would know Johnny Boxer as the legendary Bobo from Fat Pizza. Fucking Bobo, Fat Pizza, they're big and cheesy. But he's just this absolute legend who I worked with 8 years ago and went and saw him at a show called The Stoned Ape down at Bondi Pavilion, which is really great. But Johnny's getting a bit older now, but he is just, I can't say too much, he is the real deal. Like, it was a show about sort of drugs and death, and he was playing this bikie drug dealer. And he's a guy who has just been there, done that, and he genuinely got a voice that's like this.
That's good. That's great.
It was just so fun seeing him after the show and having a yarn with him. But he's just, I can't go into too many stories from on set, but he's just the most interesting character, and he's, yeah, anyone who knows Johnny Boxer, and he's an absolute pleasure to work with. Actually, like, if we can, I'd fucking love to get Johnny Boxer on set. Like, he's
ever since you mentioned that, he's been on my radar. I've been following him. Yeah. Seems like a absolute baller bloke. Seems like the real deal, but also seems like really intelligent and sensitive as a dude as well.
He is. He's a painter as well, and he's got
painting
some of the most bizarre tattoos that I've ever seen. He's got an elephant in a very strange spot. But anyway, I just had to give a shout out to Johnny Boxer as my old mate of the week because he was sick.
Fuck yeah. Let's get him on here at some point.
Maybe have a 4-hour podcast.
Break it up, do a couple. That'd be sick. That'd be hilarious.
Oh no!
I'm like in my head trying to think, who the hell do I know that's like this?
Yeah.
I had one today that wasn't
not even just like some
funny,
dude.
Just someone that's done something
bizarre.
stupid or funny. Or...
Did you come across?
I was driving my daughter and her cousin back to her mum's place, and we're on the 3-lane freeway, and all of a sudden all the traffic just starts really slowing right down. Like I almost have to hit the brakes a bit too hard. I'm like, oh God, has there been an accident or something? And then as we start easing forward slowly again, there's a dude whose car's hazard lights are on. He's walking towards the moving traffic, abusing people, like fucking like hitting their cars, like screaming out. I don't know what was going on, but I called the cops. I'm like, there's a dude losing his shit on the freeway, like. So that's my old mate.
Jesus.
As with a few of these, the old mate tends to be you guys involved in the situation being the only ones doing something about it. Like when bloody John jump-started a 10-ton truck with a forklift.
Yeah, it was...
It's like the old mate on that story was not the driver of that, that was you,
I would
John.
have been worried that he might have
It's a bit similar.
The
Dean's
old
the
mate
only
was
person calling himself.
I don't know what happened. Like the cops never got back to me and said
that's a fucking
what happened,
that's
but
a
he
reverse
never said
situation
anything
there.
like it on the freeway. Yeah. Although there's another time on that same freeway, there's a very long
That's
sort
what I
of
say.
arching bridge that is like really high over a river that I don't know the name of, and there used to be just a guardrail that was only like maybe to my shoulder height, and I was driving towards Sydney, and in the middle of the fucking bridge, there's a dude on the wrong side of the fence, like, hanging off with his arms, like about to do it, and I'm like, do I just pull over?
Oh,
I started slowing down, and somebody
Oh, no.
stopped as well. We both stopped in the left lane, and this one dude talked him down and got him off. So that's probably a better old mate. It's hectic seeing something like that.
Yeah, wow. That person's the old mate.
But that one today
Bloody
was
hell.
interesting.
Mm.
Because today the
it's
dude
full
was
on.
walking in traffic towards cars and shit.
Oh, that was today. Someone
Abusing
stopped the
people,
freeway.
like hitting people's cars with his fist.
Yeah, fuck. There you go.
I mean, I get kind of stressed
Fucking
when my car breaks down, but not that stressed.
Yeah, fuck that.
That's almost like one of those Brad Pitt videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Someone
all
could
I
have
think
just
of.
kept going. Fucking, I'm on the freeway. This bloke's running around. Just run him over. Ben, do we have an old mate? I can go if you like a bit more time.
I think I do.
Yeah.
There was a guy I knew at work who was a pretty loose cannon. Bit of a cliche, with these rigging type of guys, like half a pack a day, kind of smoking. This guy's like, he's a real gun. You don't have to tell him to do much. He kind of gets the picture and like big overview and just kind of knows what needs to happen from a really broad point. Yeah, he's a pretty good worker, but I mean, loose cannon in the sense that when you got to go up into the ceiling in a studio, where the trusses are. You've got all these gantry walkways like 25 meters off the ground, right, and then you're hitting hard concrete. So when you go up there, especially if you're not in the rail sections and you need to step over onto the actual trusses and ladders and stuff like that to like hang things in more obscure places that you can't get to on a gantry. You got to walk out with a harness, right? Like this guy, my God, on multiple occasions. I'm not even going to say his name or what gig it is because he's a good guy, but like holy shit, he'd just go out without a harness.
Oh no!
And just does it, and I'm like sweating. I'm like sweating, just sitting like where the rails are. And, like my palms are like dying on me, and I'm like talking to this guy, like, dude, like, are you not afraid of heights? And it's like, man, yeah, I'm fine. And yeah, like he'll just like I don't even want to talk to him while he's out there because it's like that anything that I'm going to say could startle this poor guy.
Yeah. I don't reckon anything can startle that cunt.
Jesus, like, man, it's like I don't even want to like rattle the pipes or anything. Like I want to like stand still, like not like be as quiet as a mouse. Like this fucking guy is just like walking across the truss, does not give a shit that is not even clipped in. And I'm like, man, you slip. That's like you're gonna die. You will die. You're not gonna get saved from that height. You will die.
It's not even about him though. It's like it's all fun and games until he hits the ground and everyone's surrounding that nonsense of him just.
Yeah.
To deal with that for the rest of their lives. Like, fuck, we're a fucking artist.
That too, right? That too, and then,
if you want
it's going to be
you
like...
want to take the risk, go for gold, but don't fuck with other people's shit.
And then it's going to be like on everyone else that was there. I was like, who the fuck didn't say get down? And then you're like, fuck even more.
On that occasion, that was you.
Yeah, I know. They're like,
no, that would not have come back to you.
Yeah, he's a loose.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. He's a fucking old mate. That is a loose old mate.
Yeah, that was probably
Yeah.
Jesus, man.
My old mate ties in that. It wasn't going to be my one. This isn't from this week, but yeah, perfect parallel to that story, and we can call it. There was a bloke I met on a film set at Fox Studios yonks ago, a grip of some description with the truck, and he's there just blatantly out in the open. We're not shooting at the time, we're outside, and he's just doing bumps of coke, just off a key, broad daylight, no wuckers, durry in his hand, does not give a fuck, and he leans over to me and he goes, some people have a habit to keep them going when they're driving trucks across the country. You know, some people get the habit
That's a fucking
to keep
old
working.
mate.
I keep working for the habit. And then walks away. Fucking old mate.
That's classic.
I don't know his name, don't know anything about him. Said that
Love
to me,
it.
wandered off into the just disappeared into the crowd, and that was it.
Jesus.
So classic. That's such
Anyway.
a grit cliche.
Yeah. You can see it too. Yeah,
Probably
you can
why
see
this
it too.
kid's
Like, you know,
losing his
still
shit
wait
on
for
the
3
freeway.
days driving
Old-
up and down
old mate
from
probably, like, ran
Queensland
him
to
off the
Sydney,
road
man,
or
or whatever with this fucking truck. Just wired.
I don't remember what happened.
A group truck's coming through. Alrighty, boys. Well done. 2 hours.
Cheers.
I'll do the play out. Fucking what's it called? Close. Fucking whatever. Do the outro, and then sometimes we stick around. John's ready for bed. But yeah, Ben, you're more than welcome to stick around for a bit longer. Sometimes we chat for a bit longer.
Yeah, no
John,
dramas.
you're also welcome to stick around. All right, outro.
Might get weird.
I'm betting on it. That'd be fucking awesome. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Episode 7 of Old Mate Yarns. Stick around for the next one. We'll have a brief hiatus because we have our screening, cast and crew screening next week. But we'll be back very soon. Take it easy.